Welcome, everyone, to our Thursday night Rockwell Veterans Business Alliance Facebook Live. We do this once a week, every week. We've been doing it for about, 18 or 20 weeks now. And tonight with us, we have our special guest, Mr. John Beeman, with us. So give him the floor in just a minute. Hope everybody's killing it this week. Today's $10,000 Thursday, so I hope you collected at least some of that. My shout out to our boy, Doc Ranigan. He can't be here today because he is working very hard saltwater fishing or something funny like that, right? But, hey, we miss you, brother. I hope you're having a good time with your family. Next up is we want to spotlight our member of the week, and I'm going to hand this over to our boy Aaron Withrow here so that way I can put some details in the Facebook comments for this. This week we're going to spotlight a good friend of ours, a veteran Marine. His name's Chris Dorward. He's in the real estate game, and Withrow does a lot of work with him. So take it away, my friend.
Yeah. In essence, Chris Dorward and Doc's Roofing is kind of the essential what our VBA was founded for, finding these nice synergy partners within our veterans community that we can do great work for. Chris is an integrity guy, expert in his field, all the things that you're looking for in an industry specialist. So real estate, let's face it, just like roofers, you can't throw a rock without hitting one of them. But at the end of the day, that guy can really hook you up, make sure he puts you in the right market, get your home sold or get your home bought. And outside of that, he is a good family man, somebody that you can trust. I mean, I just know him personally. I was really excited to see him as the spotlight this week because I love the guy. Not just because he sends us good business and good clients, but the business that we do together is long-term. Like, it stays. The clients call us back when they've got issues. So it's really neat.
Well,
good man.
And with that being said, that is the whole goal here within the Rockwell Veterans Business Alliance, right? Is to help each other succeed, to be a part of a team, surround yourself with greater minds, greater power, greater responsibility, and take care of one another. So without further ado, Mr. John Beeman, thank you for joining us. When we were coming up with our topics, our topic tonight is laser focus in business. And when we sat down to decide, okay, who would be the perfect candidate for this? You know what? You immediately popped in my head. The times we've had lunch, the times we've conversated, whatever it's been, you seem like you just got laser focused. So tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Definitely. Well, thank y'all so much for having me first and foremost, and thank y'all for your service. Much appreciated. Truly do. So definitely, I actually grew up, we've talked to you, I've had a chance to get a little bit of the background story. Grew up Southeast Wisconsin, came to Texas 2011, went to college at Liberty University, majored in business, earned my MBA there, started working for my dad's private equity company. Then 2018 is when we started taking on more of this local project, family business again, a Merchant Masters DFW, local processing stuff. So you're talking merchant services, POS systems, that type of thing. And we have a really fun project we're working on. It's called the McGraw Council now. It's basically that whole small business education stuff. Also serve on Heath City Council. But one of the things that I really love about what I get to do is that I really get to help people. And this is part of the reason I'm so pumped about this particular item that we're discussing today, focus. You have to have that definitive laser focus when you try to have a whole lot on your plate, because you guys do all the veterans networking stuff. You do heavy Rockwell chamber networking. You manage your own businesses. You're managing your own lives. You have to be very intentional with everything that you do. You have to have those definitive metrics. You have to have that laser focused pinpoint of a goal to get everything done. But yeah, that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. Member out at Lake Point Church. Love going to that. Been missing the in-person churches, but doing it all online. And that's been another fun adaptation too, just adapting to the ever-changing economy, the way that everything is changing. Yeah. Accepting the virtual technology, doing the virtual meetings like this. Instead of having our normal networking events, we've had to do it online. Getting that pinpoint laser focus. It's been a challenge, but it's been really good. I think it's presented a lot of opportunity for growth.
Well, you kind of segue perfectly into what our discussion is on laser focus tonight. And today it's more difficult than ever to distinguish yourself from the competition or the crowd. And in order to separate yourself from the competition, it's necessary to focus on a specific niche or a specific category. And focusing on a specific function or purpose will claim your business as a go-to for that service. And the end result, what we hope to take away from having a focus is the bottom line is increasing revenue, right? So Casey, why don't you start us off with some of the benefits of focusing, my friend?
Well, focus, I think my 7th grade teacher, Miss Imelda Holloway, taught me that organization is the key to success. And I didn't listen to her hard enough, being a knucklehead student in public schools in Houston, Texas, but I got that lesson now. And one thing that I started doing to really drill down on the focus, when the shelter-in-place orders went into effect in March, I think everybody thought this was going to be over in about 60 or 90 days. Well, here we are 160 days into this. But one thing that I started doing was adding discipline to my workday. Now, I get up every day and I write down my goals, and that's just something I do. And I also review my big goals, my 3, 5, and 10-year goals on a quarterly basis. But I started writing down like I used to do when I first went into business to make sure that I would not be distracted by things like this little guy right here, which is the most distracting thing in your life. And, the Facebook algorithm, the Twitter algorithm, Instagram, they're all designed like with the same notion of a slot machine in Vegas to distract you from your focus. So things I started doing is I wrote my own date planner. And that's kind of, you can get a whole lot of Franklin Covey back in the day. I'm going to go back in the time machine for a second. Before we had these things and before we had PDAs and Blackberries, there was this thing called a planner. It's kind of like a calendar and a to-do list together in something about the size of a wallet. Right. And that's what you used to keep organized back in the day. However, as we grew to love and also need to restrain the use of these smartphones, your calendar and all these other amazing features are right there at your fingertips, but they're very distracting. And so what I did is I made my own date time planner. And it's the first thing that when I get to the office, the first thing I do, if I'm going to the office, since we're not going to court like we used to, going to the office every day just about, and I write down. So you got to block out your first 3 biggest projects. You got to empty out the junk drawer, and then you got to write down all of the rewards that you're going to get for the day. But what that allows you to do is, 1, prioritize your 3 biggest accomplishments you need to do that day. And whatever they may be, one of them may be a personal thing. Like I got to take my kid to the doctor, or I need to go to the gym, or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as those 3 big things are blocked out, so they got to happen. And then you write down all, there's like a little mini spot where I write down all my, smaller appointments. I know I got a phone call with Jeff Skinner. I got a follow-up phone call with Aaron Withrow, whatever. Put that in there. I might have an American Legion meeting tonight. I got RVBA live at 6:00. Just get that stuff written down so it's something present and you're looking at it throughout the workday. And then empty out the junk drawer. All the little to-dos that you have to, put them down so you can start focusing on the big 3 goals. And then if there's time to get to these other things, the junk drawer up here has been emptied out and you're focused. And then another thing, shutting these automatic alerts off, that I think is critical. Got to find a way to make sure you're dominating social media and it's not dominating you.
You got a spot on point there, because technology evolves so quickly, and it's something that we it's a necessary evil nowadays. And what I want to hear from Withrow right now is the benefits of focusing and building momentum, like creating focus and how that builds momentum for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So focusing and momentum is key. Like Casey said, you start your day off with discipline, and your day will end with great discipline. That is starting the wheel going, getting that momentum going. I love having one good win at the beginning of the day, because one good fail can wreck me. My focus is now destroyed. I want to win, even if it's I made my bed. I'm a big fan of the Jocko Willink stuff, and you wake up and that's my time. I'm a 5:30 in the morning guy, and Nobody's messing with me. And, that's my time to get the win. So start off with your first win. I made a bet. Cool. Yeah, it's an easy win, but that starts that process. Casey does goal setting. I completely avoid emails that, I don't want to see them yet. It's not time to start wins and fails on that side. I'm trying to get my focus built into its platform on where I'm going to launch it for today.
Well, you build that momentum and you create an effectiveness within yourself. And once you build that momentum, you'll see things take place faster, more efficiently, right? Mm-hmm. And you turn into the next one. John, tell us about reducing stress. That's another benefit of focusing, right? I mean,
if you can't reduce stress, you're never going to be able to think clearly. That goes back to Casey's point, back to what Aaron just said about, building. You have to build positive momentum. And with any type of growth, whether it's personal or business or whatever it might be, there's going to be stress. That's okay. It's part of it. But if you can't deal with it and compartmentalize it, it's going to eat you up alive. You have to find ways to reduce stress, whether it's people do it through prayer, people do it through working out, people do it through, taking a short walk. Maybe it's playing a football game. It could be hypothetically anything, but you have to find a way to effectively manage your stress, because otherwise it will truly eat you up alive. The example that I love to use a lot is investment bankers. It can be a very, very rewarding career financially.
I think that
a huge chunk of them have massive problems by the time they're early mid-30s. And if you can't compartmentalize the stress and keep everything in check, again, keep it in focus about what you're trying to accomplish. If you can't manage stress, you won't be able to fulfill the mission, fulfill the purpose to the best of your ability.
When you get overwhelmed, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
easily.
I'll give you an example today. I had a great game plan for today. I was beautifully planned. I thought, man, I'm going to kill it. It's my only day in the office today out of the field. It went completely left, right? So while I thought I was reducing my stress, I got overwhelmed today because I just had, rounds coming in from every firing direction. It was nuts, man. So you want to try to reduce the stress and keep yourself from feeling overwhelmed, because when you get overwhelmed, it's just human nature to kind of like fight or flight. Right? It's like, your brain's all over the place or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's stress comes in many different forms, physically and mentally. I mean, if you see yourself 5 years ago before you started your business, 10 years ago, and you see yourself now, it's a different type of stress, right? So it's a great point there. Casey, what another benefit while we were doing our research here was in increasing engagement, within your company. Right? If you're focused, talk a little bit about how that increases the engagement for us.
Well, that's something that is especially challenging right now. But I'm a big believer in being a student of your betters. Get in the right room. And if you're not in the right room, get to the right library. Study the books of people who have studied and written on how to tap into their teams. And I'll give you a couple examples. Pete Carroll's book, Win Forever. Yeah, he's a football coach, but he's a football coach who has not just won, dominated at every level. High school, junior college, fired from 3 NFL teams, dominated college again, and then he's dominating in the NFL. And runs one of the least whiny programs in the NFC West.
What's that book called again?
Win Forever. But one thing that Coach Carroll talks about is be an observer and a learner of your people. Really get to know them. You need to know what motivates them and incentivizes them, so that way you're feeding them the nourishment. You coming to work for you gives them the nourishment they need to continue to work there. And, here's another student of management, and a lot of people don't like him, and that's okay. But he's got a good message. It's Grant Cardone. I recommend you listen to his audio programs. But Uncle Grant, he talks about how critical it is to touch and have one-on-one meetings with your people on a daily basis. Now, that guy's got 5 companies. I don't know how he finds time to meet with the teams and his 5 different companies on a daily basis, but that's what he preaches. And the reason why is because if you don't know what's going on, I mean, 50% of the time, it's like that joke from Anchorman, right? Like Sex Panther, 70% of the time it works, 30% of the time. But when it comes to your employees, 70% of the time, 30% of the time, their world is upended. You don't even know what's going on in their life, right? Like they might have a child who's ill. They might be disgruntled. They may be dissatisfied with something. They may be wanting a different opportunity. They may have a crappy car and they're having some struggles with keeping it on the road. So if you're not having that constant contact, those one-on-ones, and then the other thing is you got to do that to make sure you understand they're closest to the work. Yeah. So having those engagements, focusing on them. A lot of people think the millennials, whoever you listen to, the millennials are, they're the ruination of all. That's just such bullshit, right? That's a failure of leadership, in my opinion, because I'm a Gen X part 1, which means all you guys are Gen Y or millennials to me. So the point of that is you're our biggest generation. You're the generation that went to war to fight the war on terror. Like, we're fine. There's nothing wrong with your generation. Your generation is going to change the world. And if there's, anybody who's holding back on that, it's because they don't want to engage this younger generation. But this is a generation, and I'm not calling you guys out, that craves engagement. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you look at the Army marketing videos from the 70s, from the end of Vietnam to today, look at the iterations of how they have changed. An army of one is what they used. The army of focused engagement is what they use to recruit people like Aaron Withrow.
Well, the one thing that has stayed consistent, though, is they always come in after the Marines.
Yeah.
But
that was the worst marketing and branding recruitment. That Army lasted like maybe a year.
Well, the advertisement for my generation. This was actually pitched to us in a how to communicate with different jury pools. But the army of the Generation X is be all you can be. We were the original latchkey kids in America, rode the bus home, walked 5 miles in the Texas heat. Basically, both parents working outside the home, and army of what we are completely independent. You look at the advertisements for Home Depot, the Army, Lowe's, all of them back then. It's all about you can build it, we can help. You can do it.
I think that's a good point, Casey, because what you're talking about is building a strong culture. Something like that doesn't just happen. You have to have that definitive goal, that definitive laser-focused vision saying this is what we want our company or whatever it might be to look like. That takes intent. It takes effort. It takes focus.
And like you said, like Jeff pointed out, that increases engagement. I want to be a part of that train.
Well,
right.
And the biggest thing that, when you're focused, you increase engagement and you also increase retention.
Yep.
Casey, you were saying a couple of things. I just want to touch on it real quick before we jump to our next topic. Staying in touch and having an engagement with your employees. You may have your best employee with 1 foot out the door looking at another company because they're not feeling like they have buy-in in the company. So focus on engagement, focus on keeping your people in the loop. And then, the other benefit to having a focus-driven business is attracting more clients. That's what we're all here for. At the end of the day, people want to do business with people who are successful, who seem like they have their heads squared on straight and they know where they're going. Mm-hmm. Each of us in each of our industries compete with another brand to get the client, get the contract award to us, right? So potential clients, you got to understand if you're not focused and you're going down 16 different streets in your business, that client's going to see that, whether you're covering it up with smoke and mirrors or not. People see that kind of stuff. Think about the last time you needed a service done with your home, yard, plumbing, whatever it was, and you got 2 or 3 bids on it. What was the key factor in choosing the person that you chose? Was it they showed up early? Was it because they came with everything they needed to be prepared, etc.? So just keep that in mind when you're running your business. And I have to constantly, personally, have to tell myself all the time, because I'm in a field where I could go 100 different directions in the tech world and be successful. But I've chosen a few to be really stinking good at, you know what I mean? But I get the, hey, rabbits hate bright lights. So
totally.
talk about that, Aaron. Go ahead.
Let me just throw out something out there. That was a perfect example, Jeff, because your focus, and I'm just going to use you as a great example. Jeff came and hung a TV. Jeff does so much more than hang TVs, but that's one of the best services that kind of shows and highlights his focus. The goal is to hang the TV securely and to make sure that I've got a good looking presentation to watch it. That focus never left. Tools for this goal. How I set myself up for a level perfect TV placement, still part of the goal. The focus was always there. And all you did was just grab this and this and this. It wasn't experience. It was you had it detailed in your mind. I'm going to do this, 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 and this with this tool, this tool, this tool, and this tool. That focus was tight, like a Toiger.
I appreciate that. You know what? It's spot on.
But it's a great example.
It is. And you know what? You have to be focused. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you're doing. Focus is key. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to narrow down a few ways that can help you focus yourself. We've gone over some benefits. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of detail that you can do your own research on. And I would urge the people that are watching or see this later on, do a little bit of self-reflection on your focus as we're going through this. And the first thing is, Casey started us off with this, you have to banish distractions. I'll take a couple minutes here and explain my day, because this is the perfect opportunity for me to say I failed today being focused. And I have no problem saying that. I had a great to-do list. I had my to-do list in priority order. I mean, it was ready to rock and roll. The phone wouldn't stop. The text messages wouldn't stop. The freaking emails wouldn't stop. Then my deliveries didn't show up. It went to shit. That's the only way I can say it, right? So, you know, some of the things you can do. Try to move to a quiet place. Turn your notifications off. It's difficult, guys. It's so hard to put your phone down and put it on silent. We got social media. We got email. We got text. Your whole life is on this phone. Imagine today you drop this phone in the toilet. That's a big deal. Back in the day, it didn't used to be that way. So find a quiet place. Try to turn your notifications off when you can, so that you're laser focused on what you're trying to accomplish at that specific time. And look, to be honest and candid here, sometimes you just got to tell people to leave you alone. Go shut your door in your office. Tell them, do not distract me. I don't care what it is. Obviously, be smart. Use some common sense with the family if there's an emergency. But it's okay to tell people, leave me alone for the next 45 minutes. People can leave emails. They can leave phone messages, whatever. So you want to hear from you guys quickly. We got a few topics to go here. What are some distractions that you see yourself coming across on a daily basis that you've been able to get rid of to help you improve your focus?
Phone's a huge one. I mean, the phone is always going off, whether it's social media or emails, phone calls, texts, current clients, prospective clients. It could be anything. Realizing that not every text needs to be responded to within 30 seconds is okay. Yes, you need to have a good response time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to your point, Jeff, yes, you need to set aside that time where you have to get work tasks done. Put aside, that 45 minutes, whatever it might be, and focus solely on getting that done effectively and efficiently. And then you can get back to the text, or you can get back to have time for emails once an hour, maybe at the top of every hour. Spend 10 minutes, however long it takes to go through the emails, clean out the inbox, write some replies, things like that. Have your tasks aligned so you can control it. Because if you let it control you, you're going to be pulled in a million different directions.
I tell you what, I envy Aaron Withrow. I've known this guy a long freaking time right now, and I'm a huge email guy. If my inbox is full, that means I have stuff to do. This dude told me from the get-go, I don't do email. And yet I would still email him thinking it was work. So the other part of that, too, is to learn communication methods that work for your clients and your team.
Oh, so true.
Casey.
Yo.
For you, my man, right here. Multitasking. Go ahead and give us so a few ways we're going over a few ways that you can get yourself focused. And one of them is do not multitask. We all do it. Tell us how we can get rid of that. Because some would view that as a skill. Would you agree?
It is, but
Exactly.
It could be a huge impediment.
Yeah.
So being a student of business books, here's a business book on the whole subject of it it ain't perfect, but it's a pretty good run at how to help conquer this. Indistractable. Just finished it. A lot of the things in there, it validated a lot of the things that I already do. But turning off all notifications on your phone, including the little red bubble when you have a message, you don't need to know that. That phone doesn't have a constitutional right to be answered. And the email has no constitutional right to be answered immediately. So what I do, and I've been doing this a little while, when I really need to focus on stuff, I set aside 21 minutes. Just phone is in do not disturb. I put an alarm on. The phone can be very handy, but it can be very distracting.
I like the odd number.
I turned off all notifications. There's no push notifications of any kind, because you got to remember the push notifications were thought up by Twitter, Facebook, Insta, whatever. And that's that slot machine algorithm that we are as a human species programmed to, because we want constant communication and we want to please others, but we don't want others to feel ignored. And so you feel this compulsion. Turn all that shit off, man.
Yeah.
And focus on your work. And if you've got something you really got to drill down on, 21 minutes or alternatively 42 minutes of uninterrupted focus time with an alarm. And I wrote a jury charge. It wasn't perfect, but I wrote a jury charge the other night. And I mean, a jury charge is a complicated thing. It's like 20 something pages long, all the questions you want the jury to answer at the end of a trial. Don't ask me why we're writing a jury charge for cases that aren't going to be tried till next summer, but somebody had a dust up about it, so we had to do it. Anyway, thanks, defense attorney. Just
focus.
Yeah.
The point being, though, 42 minutes, that thing was drafted, right? Now, things that, closing your door or being discourteous to people. One good thing from this Indistractable book that I liked is when he's in his office environment and he needs to focus on his writing or this, that, and the other, he has a cute, in-your-face picture of a bumblebee that he hangs on the back of his computer monitor. So when coworkers are walking by, when they see that bumblebee, they see that busy bee, they know this is not the time. It says there's a busy bee and it says busy now, come back soon. So they know to stay out of his space, and that's a very non-confrontational, positive way to let your coworkers know, or your wife or whoever, wherever you're working from, this is important to me. I want to hear about it, but not at this moment.
Well, the other thing, the point of it, what we're trying to get at here is multitasking, while it can be viewed as a skill, takes away. Imagine having one thing to do with 110% focus on it, and now having 10 things to do with 20% focus. So like Beeman was saying, have a clear and concise goal of what you're trying to accomplish with laser focus on what you're doing. And to Casey's point, you can knock out that critical task in a lot less time than you would trying to do 10 other things.
Yeah. And if I wasn't clear about that, that's the whole point, is blocking out little 21 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a great point. That kind of tied itself together really well right there.
I'm really strict on the amount of time that I'll allow tasks. Meetings should not last more than 30 minutes.
And you should never sit down.
And you should never sit down in a meeting. I do not. If I could banish chairs from a conference room, I would. It would just be a conference room with no table and everybody has a podium.
Yeah.
And, that kind of reminds me of back in undergrad. We had this art teacher from Amsterdam, and he was, super educated, whatever, painter, studied at famous university in Europe, insert name, but some student was in his class and sat down on a stool, and he was like, "You are not watching TV. You are making something with your creative mind. Get up."
So,
and that's how I think meetings ought to be run.
So check this out. On average, the next thing, and I'm going to give this to Aaron, because Aaron and I did a lot of, and Casey as well, did a lot of social media stuff, and we still do. Obviously, we're doing it now for the RVBA, but an average person 2 hours and 24 minutes a day spends on social media.
Almost 10% of your day.
That's crazy, right? I mean, just think about that. 2 hours and 24 minutes. You know, sometimes I get my phone tells me, hey, dude, you've been on your phone way too much. It gives you that little screen, like whatever. Talk about putting a lockdown on social media, Withrow. It's difficult, but let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm going to put that into this disciplined mindset. What do you really need to know that's out there in Facebook land? What do you need on Instagram? What does that really have to do with your business day and your focus? And what are the results? Is Casey's dog walking excursion where he puts his mileage on there? Because, you know, he's going to walk his dogs, and the entire Rockwall community needs to know his route, his water intake, places he stopped. No, I don't. And so is it? Is it entertaining? Absolutely. Is it need to know? Mm-mm. Does it help your business? No. Ask yourself those questions. Do I need to know it? And how does it help me work?
Well, the other thing too is that
media for this? Absolutely. We're growing. We're learning. Do you need to distract yourself? I'm gonna be the first person that admits it. I Candy Crush. Love it.
Candy Crush?
Yeah, bro.
You need to do Call of Duty, man.
But again, at the right place, at the right time is key. Not when you're not when like Casey was saying, not when you got that 20 to 40 minute gap where you have to get stuff done. That's your work time. Yeah, everyone needs a, that 2-second break or whatever, but not 2 hours 30 minutes almost. Might be a lot.
I read something while we were doing some of the research for this topic this week, and I'm going to try this. It's difficult because I'm more in the field than the office, but for those of you that are more office oriented, I read a couple of articles that stated, Casey hit this on the head, set a timer. Set a timer for 30 minutes, focus on what you're doing for 30 minutes. When that timer goes off, stand up and walk around in circles or wherever, go get a drink, restroom break, whatever, 2 minutes. When you get back, set another timer for 30 minutes. And challenge yourself to do that maybe just once or twice a day to see if that helps you kind of focus in on the tasks at hand. Because at the end of the day, we all have a to-do list, right? We're all trying to check it off. I get it. I'm so happy when I get to check off a to-do list. I love it. Unfortunately, today I put more to-dos than I checked them off. But the idea behind it is to be able to sit down and accomplish something that would take you 20 minutes with complete focus, do it in 20 minutes rather than taking 2 hours because you're spreading yourself too thin, right? So, I could talk this whole time about how my day went to shit like that. My focus went. So this is a great topic today. But, we had mentioned earlier, stress has physical effects, mental effects too. Getting enough sleep is another way that you can help yourself with focus. Me, I'm more of a stay up late kind of guy. And I still get up early, but I can't hit the rack at 8 o'clock. It's just not in my wheelhouse, but I'll be up at 6:15 every day. So the average adult statistically needs 7 to 9 hours per night. Raise the hands here. Do you get 7 to 9 hours a night, you think? You guys get it?
6, 7.
That's weak.
I would say probably I want to say for the hustlers in the group, that is so far off. None of us get that many. You know what I mean? Casey's a big advocate of being up early.
Like 10:30, 11 to 4 a.m. And that's just my – I used to think something was wrong with me. I can't sleep at night. Maybe I need a pill, blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit. That's your passion waking you up. You need to get up and get after it because you'll have plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
But in the same token, we want to take it seriously in regards to – making sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
We always talk about it. Doc says it all the time. Health, wealth, and spirituality or God, whatever, whoever your God may be, whatever. You have to take care of yourself. If you're staying up and partying until 4 in and you're supposed to be getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning for an interview, hey, common sense is going to tell you you're not prepared. You're not focused.
Self-awareness. I think there are also some people who will naturally need more sleep. Some people naturally need less. It's not like a law. Everyone has to get X number. We're all individuals. We're all going to be different, but you have to know yourself to know what you need to function effectively and efficiently.
And
well,
that's
I want to speak on this one simply because I've got a medical background. It's not so much the sleep, it's the quality of your sleep. Are you sleeping light? for 6 hours, or are you sleeping hard for 5.5?
How many distractions do you have while you sleep?
Yeah. So look at my bedroom. My bedroom is a sleep sanctuary. We don't really watch TV. Yes, it does have a TV in there, but we don't watch TV in there. That is not for that. You set yourself up for success. I do battle with some insomnia, and my insomnia only gets worse. I came from 20 years as a paramedic. You learn to stay up 24 hours. Your circadian rhythm is all bad. Battle rhythm. I think that we on the veteran side really get used to the whole being able to hop up, jump up, and go to 100 miles an hour
like that. Yeah.
Like, and for me,
you hear that search and rescue alarm, and you're up. You're running for the boat.
Right. Exactly. Perfect example. I had the hardest time with that, and that lack of sleep, that lack of downtime in your brain. And I'm gonna go into something on this. It's vital because you need that mid-afternoon as well. I'm not saying go take a nap, but you need a second to stay. Like Jeff said, stand up, go walk around. But that same mental disconnect allows you to do the same effects as sleep to reapproach the problem. One of our best examples, cleaning up after a roofing project. You basically watch the guys get off the roof. They sweep for nails. You're looking for stuff. You're over there with them. You're cleaning up stuff. If you take 5 minutes to drive away and let those guys finish and then come back, I promise you're going to find way more trash. Why? You just took your eyes off it for a second. You reset. You refocused.
Yeah.
And now you're back on. You've brought the goal back with you. But now you're
so on point, Aaron.
I really want to kudos, Chris. Jeff put it up there in there, but Casey kept saying, turn off the news. That was a really good comment. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what.
That should be a whole thing. We could make that a whole episode.
Here we go.
Yeah.
No, but Aaron, you're absolutely right. So, and it doesn't matter what you're working on. You could be rebuilding the
Honda
engine block on your BMW motorcycle, and there's just a time you could be working on that jury charge. You got that 42 minutes carved out, and you killed it. Right, it's done. But you need to go take a step back, drink some water, get out of the 150-degree garage, and then come back in 5 minutes and
look at your emotions.
Fresh set of eyes. You're going to see something. Hey, you know what? I forgot to torque down bolt number 6. Bam, I'm going to hit that. And then I'm just going to retorque the whole head to make sure it doesn't come off when I'm going 150 miles an hour.
And can I make one small comment before we move on to the rest of your goals there, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
All of the topics that we've talked about, banishing distractions, multitasking, the negative effects of those deal. And this comes from me as a sales guy. The number one thing you can do to give to your client is give them your focus. Give them that time. So the best thing you can do to sell a client is use empathy. Empathy is the most crucial tool that keeps us all from being sociopaths. Put yourself in your client's shoes. When I'm talking to you and hold on one second, and you do this, you're not important enough. I'm glad to be here to sell you a roof and hold on one second. Let me, boom.
Yeah, I think that you could sum that up with just common courtesy.
Yeah.
If you're standing in front of somebody, you want to be engaged. If you're pulling your phone out while someone's talking to you, and I'm culpable of it from time to time, it's it's unfortunate. But
if I don't feel like I've got your full focus, so you're dealing with another project besides mine. It's just one of those things that put yourself in your client's shoes. And so why don't you come back to me on a day when I am your full focus?
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to adapt and overcome. You got to redirect fire because it's a two-way street. As a service provider or a business owner, you don't want to be doing that. But how many times have you stood in front of a client who you're trying to have an engaging conversation with and they pull their phone out? But that's, we could go on and on about that. But,
like distractions, you're multitasking, allowing yourself to be distracted by, hold on one second. Ice cream truck just came by. I got to go. It's just little things like that. I just thought that very good.
John, I don't mean to cut you off with I want to jump on this next one because I feel like this one's important here. John and I have met for lunch. We've exchanged text messages, emails. We're getting to know each other still. But one thing I have taken away from every conversation we've had is this guy's goal driven, and it's something that I can tell by just talking to him. some of the input he's given me, some of the things we've talked about. I want you to kind of outline for us what a SMART goal is and how that can help increase your focus.
Absolutely. It's an acronym. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So I can elaborate on this one a little bit. In our industry, one of the common methodologies for increasing your client base is cold calling, door knocking. Literally, you go hit the streets, knock every business. And the general rule of thumb is 20 to 30 businesses a day. We took a different approach to that. We were much more relationship network marketing, but we still had the specific goal. Literally, it was build 2 to 3 new high quality business relationships every day of the week, 5 days a week. That was the metric. And you start with that end goal where you see yourself in 5 years. Where do you want to be? Yeah. You work back from that. And we were to hammer that down in order to build up in a sustainable manner, you have to build 2 to 3 new high quality business relationships 5 days a week, every day. If we did that, we were golden. We were able to do that all up until COVID hit and kind of threw a monkey wrench into our processes. But you have to have that specific, achievable. You need to stretch yourself. It needs to be difficult, but it needs to be within reach also. It needs to be very, very specific. If it's not specific, not only will you have a hard time achieving it, but you won't be able to communicate to your team what you're trying to achieve. I mean, because very rarely is everything purely a one-man show. Very rarely is it solely dependent upon one person. Our economy today, as an example, is too interconnected for one person. I mean, Jeff, when you're looking for supplies, that automatically means there's more than one person involved. It's more than black level at that point. You're talking supply chains. And so, yes, you need to have that specific goal. You need X product at Y amount and so on and so forth.
The timing.
I was just going to go into that timing. You've got to keep the timing down. You have to have that nailed down. I mean, to your point, Casey, you have a specific amount of time you have for meetings. You have it 30 minutes, minute 31 hits, I'm gone.
Gone.
You have to have that specific, relevant, achievable, measurable, and timely goal. If you don't incorporate time, you're screwed. Time is just like money, rather. You have to budget it. You only have a limited amount. It's arguably more valuable than money in a funny sense, because no matter what you do, you can't buy time. You can buy resources that enable you to increase your capacity, but you can't get more than 24 hours in a day. And you have to be able to budget that out very, very intentionally in a very focused manner, because if you don't do that, you won't be able to achieve it. If we had meetings that went 2 hours every time, there's no way we could hit our 2 to 3 new business relationships a day. There's just not enough time. Unless you're literally the type that can work 20 hours a day and sleep on 2 day in and day out. That'd be impressive. I'm not there.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where setting goals, and we've talked about this in the past with some of our previous, it's almost like it comes up consistently. When you say, Casey, the setting the goals, I mean, if you go back and look at the last 18 or 20 videos, there's a couple of things that we always hit on, which is being in the right circle with the right people and setting goals for yourself. It's tremendous tool for you. So don't look at it as I gotta set a goal and I gotta hit it. No, use it as a tool. Use it as fire. Use it as fire. I mean, you got your war board up on here. I mean, set yourself goals, independent goals, global. I mean, like short term, long term, whatever.
Yes, completely.
Hey, I want to this kind of jumps into our next topic here, which is. And John, that's great input on the SMART goals, man. I think you really explained it well. But the next topic is, and you do this every single day, and that's why I want you to jump in on this, is write down your daily tasks from least, from your priority levels, from most important to least important. That's another way that you can focus your business and make sure. Give us a quick example, Casey, of how your tasks, your daily to-dos have helped you increase your focus.
Okay. So I have 2 sets of daily goal lists that I write, and they kind of tie back into your SMART goals, which are your, smart, measurable, achievable, relevant, timely. I mean, these are like little milestones, right?
Yeah.
They are, when I'm talking when I block out my day, so I get up and I write my big time goals, the goals that these are my 5, 10, 15 year plans, right? And I'll give you an example of that. I started out with some small goals. 5 years ago, I wrote a goal that I wanted to ride my motorcycle to New Mexico. The next year, I rode my motorcycle to Monument Valley, Utah, the Grand Canyon, whatever. The year after that, Alaska. The year after that, South America. You know, and I'm a fantastic motorcycle rider. I'm not a great flyer. I didn't stick the landing down there in South America. But I'm still 3,000 miles, you know, in South America. It was amazing. 3,000 in the desert out in the Southwest, 3,000 up there in Alaska. It was just unbelievable, right? But you start those with small goals, right? Like, and the reason why that goal is smart is because it's a smaller goal. It's achievable. It's something you can do without a great deal of time and expense. You know, you just block out 3-4 days. You just make that happen. And you use all your other goals to build on that, right? And then you just make your goals bigger and higher. And one thing I'm a big believer in, again, about the goal writing and then writing your to-do list, because that is essentially a goal list for the day.
Yeah.
Because without that list, it's just a goal without a deadline is a wish.
I'll tell you for what it is, Casey. Without a to-do list, however you document it, is without focus.
Yep. And it's just a wish, right? You know, like, I want to ride South America. Well, when? You know, so I write that, you know, like, my to-do list is, this is what I'm doing today. Actually, on my planner that I created, I have my tasks for the day. There's some studies that show that your brain is kind of drained out with 3 big, you know, I'm talking about those 42-minute projects. After about 3 of those in a workday, your brain's kind of soft. You need that 5 minutes in the afternoon that Aaron's talking about to go make yourself a cup of coffee, or just step away from the work site for a minute and get that mental breathing room. And I think that's absolutely accurate. But then there's other things that you need to build into your day and that to-do list. So that way there are some metrics, you know, you're on track and you're hitting them, and you don't have to be completely crazy like me where you're blocking out your whole life in 21-minute increments. But I'm going to tell you what, if you want to get shit done, you know, I'll give you an example of people who committed. Elvis Presley and Bruce Springsteen, 2 of my favorite rock and rollers of all time. But if you've ever listened to Elvis Presley's studio recordings, that guy there's a reason why he was the king of rock. He was the biggest workaholic of all time. Even when he was on the wane, as people called it, waning, you know, because he invented the shows in Las Vegas. But people think that is like his twilight, but he was still grinding and practicing more than any other artist. And that's one of the reasons why he's so revered and loved. And if you're going to commit to it, you go all in. And that's the to-do list is a way to help you focus on that.
It's so true. A gut check question that I like to ask myself every now and then is, when I'm looking at that to-do list, is everything I am doing today taking me closer to that end goal where I want to be? If the answer is no, it might need to go. Mm-hmm. You have to have that. If this is moving me forward, then it's a good thing to do. If it's not, you might need to get kicked out.
You can make your to-do list less clinical and more abstract on your to-do list. One of my to-do lists, I do this every day. I call somebody and tell them I appreciate them. But it's genuine. I call somebody throughout the day and go, you know what? I haven't said this in a while. Don't need to bullshit. I appreciate what you do. I actually had to call somebody the other day. Haven't talked to this guy in 5 years. He was crew chief with me when I was in Iraq. One of my friends just lost his crew chief. He's a private pilot that flies for CareFlight. And his maintainer died of cancer. And it just got me thinking, you know what? I haven't talked to Dave in forever. Dave kept me safe every freaking day. I was out there being a medic, but nobody ever, tells the mechanic, hey, I appreciate what you do. That's part of my daily to-do list. It's to call somebody and just say, hey, Jeff, I hate your beard, but I do appreciate what you do for the RVBA.
No, you don't. Look at that thing, dude.
Dude, it's straight. Look how well walked I am. Like
so here we go. Getting our focus back here.
Okay.
This is our last topic, and I want Withrow to kind of nail down this one. This is a very difficult thing. Some of us are a little bit more candid than others, but the one thing that can really help you narrow your focus down into your business is learning the art of saying no. It's a very difficult thing to do. And
how many times have we had that conversation, Jeff?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I like to call it a professional asshole. You have to have candor, but you also have to have respect for who you're speaking to. It's okay to say no. So, Aaron, tell us, if your plate is full and you're asked to take on more, tell us about saying no in a professional manner.
So I'll just start off with one of my favorite quotes. If you do 90% of everything, you do 100% of nothing. If you do 90% of everything, you do 100% of nothing.
Okay.
And it's powerful to me because it helps me focus. When I first started working for Doc's Roofing, yeah, we do fences. Yeah, we do toilets. Yeah, we'll do some tile. No, we do not. We do roofs. We're good at roofs. We are 100% roof. But hey, the way I was able to come up with how to say no respectfully is I've got a guy that does AV. I've got a guy that does that. I highly respect him. I trust him. And when I give him the task, he's off to the races, or she.
Yeah.
How to say no. I can't tell you the times that me and Jeff have lamented on how spread thin we were. It had nothing to do with how effective we were, how passionate we were for our projects. We just both looked up one day and go, shit, man, we do too much. Yeah. And I'm doing 90% for everybody instead of giving somebody my 100%. And I fully believe, like Casey's a great example. Bar Association, CASA, RVBA, family man, lawyer, counselor. You know, Casey has a lot on his plate. He can't say no to a lot of that stuff. So when you ask Casey, hey, man, the Rockwall Garden Club needs a new spokesman, Casey's got to go, no. Here's why. I love gardening. I love wearing my Coast Guard shorts and getting out there and tilling the earth. But I don't think I could give you exactly what you guys are looking for. And even
knows that that's not true because I hate farm chores.
That's not true at all. I've been out there and I've seen it with real short jean shorts, looking great, super hairy.
But Aaron, you bring up a great point too, because if you can't give someone 100%, you need to ask whether or not you should truly be giving in that regard.
Bingo.
You can't stretch yourself too thin. Otherwise, you're not doing them any favors either. I mean, it's like if you're already deadbeat shot at the end of the day and you're literally asleep before you hit the pillow at night and you try to put in that extra hour of volunteering somewhere, what are the odds it's going to be quality volunteering? I mean, heaven forbid it's something that's super technical, like a case briefing or something.
Yeah.
If you mess up in that, that'd be awful.
Everything you do is creating a brand. If I do 10, 90% jobs on a roof and 100%, nobody gives a shit about the 100% job that I crow about on my social media. Everybody just knows that Aaron does mostly a good job.
Yeah.
Not good.
That's so true. Back in the day, I worked at Cassell's Auto and Truck, a heavy truck repair facility in Houston, Texas, in a really great part of town. And it's on Produce Row. And I'm going to tell you what, man, we had the best technician I've ever met. And he actually ended up, I think he went to work for Aramco fixing those giant 18-wheelers that they haul oil across the desert in the Middle East. But that guy was such a technician. But one of the things that he did is he never took on too much work. And we had another tech in the shop, and he was also great. And but I will tell you, he had like 50% warranties come back. He'd fix a FedEx truck, fix an 18-wheeler, this, that, and the other. They'd be gone for like a day, and then that truck would be back, and we'd be like, "Gee whiz, what happened here?" And then the other guy that I'm talking about, 100% customer satisfaction because he didn't take on too much, and everything he did was amazing. And and he got to the point where he was just managing other techs, such that he got promoted to become the manager of the entire maintenance department of the busing system of the city of Houston, and that led him to that job out there in the desert where he was managing all that freight maintenance. And it was amazing, though. Just he's going to give of the 80% of his day that he can be 100% focused. And we've all heard this 80-20 rule from other educators out there, but if you're 100% focused on the 80% of the day that you got to give your clients and you got to give your tasks, that's a whole lot better than being, 10% focused on 90% work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And I completely agree with both you and John on that subject.
Yeah, I'm living that learning to say no thing a lot lately with, as your business grows, you really have to understand where you need to put your resources, where you need to allocate your time, and really your focus in your business. Where is that focus? Where are we taking our businesses? How are we going to get there? Smart goals, building momentum, reducing the stress by being organized, being focused. All of these, we've covered a lot of great topics. I have to say this is probably one of my favorite topics that we have because it really hits home to me right now. So I appreciate all you guys for joining in. John, thank you so much for taking the time out to join with us, man. We appreciate you being a part of our RVBA, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate y'all and all that you guys do. Thank you so much.
So pretty much we could say with certainty, you're the best looking candidate we've had on this show. Look at you with a clean face. I don't know, man.
All right. So any saved rounds? John, you got any saved rounds? You got any last minute thoughts?
I would just reiterate, you gotta be very, very focused and intentional in everything that you do. If you're taking the shotgun approach to everything, there are times where the shotgun's not the best gun you can choose. Sometimes you need the rifle, and you got to be able to hone in and get it very, very concentrated and focused.
Nice tight group. That's it right there.
Nice.
Now you're speaking our language, brother.
Yeah.
You wouldn't love guns, right? I mean, we're in Texas. Come on.
So, hey, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to let everybody know that we appreciate all of our members, all the people that follow along with us on Facebook and social media and stuff like that. I want everybody to know that the Rockwell Veterans Business Alliance is not just veterans. We're a group of veterans and patriots that are in this together as a team to help everybody within our organization and even people that are not in our organization to succeed. We're here to do this on a weekly basis because we enjoy sharing with you some of the things that are helping us and crippling us as business owners. I think we can't all get wins every single day. So if you're interested in becoming a member of the RVBA or just want to get involved and hang out, shoot us a message on Facebook, get in touch with us. And other than that, boys, tomorrow's Friday, one last day before the weekend. Y'all go kill it. We appreciate y'all's time. Thank you for joining in.
America.
Hey, thank you. And just remember, there are no losses. You either win or you learn. And the best thing about Friday is that means there's only two more days in the work week.
The best thing about Friday is it's
Good one. Good one.
All right, fellas. Have a good night.
Coast Guard.
Happy birthday, Coast Guard.
Apparatus.
We got to say something. We can't end on that, dude.
What? It's his birthday. You got to give him his birthday props.
All right. Good night, boys. Y'all have a good one.
Take care, y'all.